The Houston Texans are the hidden draft winners that nobody is talking about as we break down great draft classes or player fits that no one is talking about now. I know the Texans had some draft reaches, including trading up in round 1 for guard Keelan Rutledge as Joe is over there making crazy eyes. Listen, man, just shut up and listen. You're not saying nothing, but shut up anyway, okay? Rutledge was projected to be a mid-second round pick. You trade up in the first round to get him. Okay, that's a reach. Their second round tight end, Klein, and their fourth round guard were also probably reaches as well. However, the Houston Texans got exactly what they needed. They needed interior offensive line. They got one of the draft's best guards along with another guard in round 4. They needed interior defensive line and got great value with Caden McDonald in round 2. They grabbed a couple linebackers, Woodaz out of Clemson and Fisher out of Indiana. And they got tremendous value at safety in round 5 with Kamari Ramsey out of USC. Overall, these guys that they got are a bunch of guys that are going to fit their system, that are going to fit their culture, and that are going to contribute from day one. I am telling you, right now, given this draft, given their offseason, if CJ Stroud can just not screw it up next year for the Texans and turn the ball over 10 times in 2 games, the Houston Texans are legitimate Super Bowl threats in the AFC. But fellas, first of all, I know Joe probably has some things to get off of his chest about that take, so give me your thoughts on that take. And then second of all, give me some teams or players that you thought were hidden winners of the 2026 NFL draft.
I really like your pick, actually. I know Keelan Rutledge is seen as a
reach, see that, Joe?
But I do like the idea of drafting a guard in the first round. Keelan Rutledge, third round projected for me, but a first round pick on a guard, a team that needs offensive line, I'm okay with that. I love the Caden McDonald pick personally, and then Kamari Ramsey at safety. I like Kamari Ramsey a lot, actually. Here's my winner. My winner is a team that doesn't have a first-round pick. So super under the radar, if you ask me. I think the Indianapolis Colts are underrated winners of this draft. CJ Allen is an absolute steal in the second round. I love the pick of AJ Hulsey at safety. You guys know how I feel about him. And Jalen Farmer, a guard in the 4th round. I like the value of Bryce Botcher in the 4th round as well. Seth McGowan in the 7th round. I thought he was an underrated running back in the draft process as well. And then Deion Burks as well. I love the value for a team trying to really compete. I think they checked all the boxes they needed in terms of team needs. They needed an edge. They went out and got one. Wide receiver, linebacker, safety. They didn't draft a center, which is a little odd because that's my only gripe with the draft. I felt like they needed to maybe select one. I'm anticipating, hopefully, once Daniel Jones gets back and healthy, I think Indianapolis is going to be right back in the conversation to try and win the AFC South. I'm excited to see how these rookies perform.
You know, when we started, before we got on all these recordings, and this is our 3rd episode we're recording in this segment right now, I talked up how I like the Dolphins draft. And Matt sat there and just looked at me and goes, they reached on everybody. And then we come in here on hidden winners and he talks about the Texans and how they reached on their first 4 picks, but they're hidden winners, baby. They're hidden winners. And I caught so much shit that I wish we had recorded to insert in this point right now about me saying the Dolphins have got their guys and how they're good building blocks and that's how you build a team. And yet I had to listen to that man do a hook on the Texans like that.
Just cut him off.
Yeah, Mr. Joe, can I respond
Absolutely
to
the fuck not. I'm going to tell you exactly what I said. You sit there and you shut up and you let me do my take because that's what you say to me every single time. I don't care how courteous you were. You sit there and you be quiet. The adults are talking. Here we go. Now, before we started this segment, I said, how many times can I talk about the Dolphins? But I'm not going to talk about the Dolphins on this segment. Much to Matt's joy, Sammy's just displeasure. However, I do give them an honorable mention. I had a hard time with this one. I really, really, really think that outside the Mekhi Lemon pick, which we had some questions about for Philly, this draft for Philly as it went on slowly but surely returned to form of what we expect out of Philly. The fit of Mekhi Lemon is questionable, especially with the A.J. Brown questions now, but then you go and get Eli Stowers. And Eli Stowers fits that big physical body over the middle, contested catch kind of guy, runs crisp routes. He's got the tight end, wide receiver hybrid. He fits the things that A.J. Brown did but I think he's a better blocker and is more versatile in where you can line him up. I really, really like the Wisniewski pick. He's a hybrid linebacker safety, had an injury in 2024, returned to form in 2025. Really, really rangy guy, can play in the box, can play strong safety for you, will come downhill. The Uar Bernard pick, I mean, just raw talent, right?
Might as well take a shot.
Might as well take a shot, right? And then my sleeper at the edge position out of New Mexico, James Newby. The Eagles get him late there. Absolutely love that pick. I think, you add that in, and then you go get the phenom out of North Dakota State, give him an opportunity to train under Jalen Hurts, sit there and possibly compete there in Peyton. And then you go and get the absolute mountain, the largest, most physically imposing tackle at the left tackle position in Bell, out of where, Sammy? Where's he out of?
Out of the University of Miami, baby. Out of the University of Miami.
It's all he's got, man. All he's got is the Hurricanes.
Cotton Bowl champions, baby. Cotton Bowl.
All he's got is the Canes, baby.
Love it.
So I love what the Eagles did. My other team that I was on the fence about, of who I wanted to talk about in this segment, was the New York Giants. I understand they trade Dexter Lawrence. However, you get Arvell Reese, you get Maui-Oa. Hey, Sammy, where's Maui-Oa out of?
Out of the University of Miami. The University of Miami. Cotton Bowl champs, baby. I love it. Yes.
Doing it just because Matt hates it.
University of Miami, baby.
Brutal.
University of Miami.
They go get Colton Hood at the corner position, right? You get Malachi Fields, who I think has got a lot of athleticism and physicality. He's not going to blow the top off, but he's going to give you contested catch capability there. The J.C. Davis pick out of Illinois, which is one of my tackles I talked about in the tackle segment. I think he's got a lot of upside. He can play guard. He can play tackle. I think right now they're projecting him as a guard, and I think he's going to be a solid starter on that O-line for years to come. I liked what the Giants did. They got players that fit the Harbaugh mentality, the New York Giant football mentality. And so my two hidden winners of this draft both come out of the NFC East, Giants and Philly. I liked what they did.
I very much so agree with both of those picks, Joe. Philly, again, I was very questionable about the lemon fit too, but the more I read about Sean Mannion and the offense he's going to bring in, I think that fit is going to be great. And again, the value at 20th overall for a player who, in my opinion, was a top 10 player in the draft, you can't screw it up again. And that's something that Howie Roseman does well every time. You talked about Markel Bell. Again, that's kind of the player. I didn't want them to pick Bell in the first round, but I wanted them to go offensive line to have somebody to develop, somebody to eventually replace Lane Johnson. Well, they found that in Markel Bell in round 3. I thought that was an outstanding selection as well. And then you talked about it with the Giants. I love their first 4 picks with Reese, with Maui-Noa, with Colton Hood, Malachi Fields as well. Really good selection. You talked about it there as well. There's one more team that I wanted to talk about before I address Joe's wild accusations about my Texans selection. I wanted to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs because, listen, the Chiefs. Nobody likes them. All right. We don't like you, Chiefs. I don't like the Chiefs fans. I don't like nothing about the Chiefs. Okay. The Chiefs are annoying. However, this organization is outstanding. Okay. And I loved how they rebuilt this defense with the first 4 picks of their draft. Again, they put talents. They got a ton of talent and they put that talent in great positions to succeed. You get Mansour Delane, who's easily the best corner in the draft. Now you put him with Steve Spagnuolo and how well the Chiefs developed the cornerback position. You're basically guaranteeing yourself a lockdown number 1 corner in Mansour Delane. I don't care they had to trade up 3 spots to get him. Again, if he's your guy, go get him. That's exactly what they did. Then you pair Peter Woods with Chris Jones to push and learn from Chris Jones for Peter Woods. Again, Peter Woods was before this year's draft, before the college football season, before this year's draft, they were talking about Peter Woods as potentially the best player in this draft. That's how talented Peter Woods is. He is an impact player, especially if you put him next to Chris Jones. I love that selection as well. Ard Mason Thomas for some speed rush off the edge as well. And there's obviously they got a couple other picks that I like. Jalen Kennedy out of Oregon as well that I really liked. And 2, again, you take a shot on Garrett Nussmeier in round 7, who obviously, he's not a
QB3.
QB3. That's tremendous value. And you're giving yourself somebody who can sit behind Patrick Mahomes, can learn from Andy Reid, can develop. Again, this is a guy who was a number 1 overall pick candidate before last season as well. He had some injuries, disappointing season. But again, now you can get him there. He doesn't have to play for ever, really, with Patrick Mahomes. He could potentially be a trade piece. He could potentially develop into a very valuable backup as well. So Kansas City, great job with your draft. Don't like you one bit, but you did an outstanding job with your draft. Now, to you, Joe, over there talking about, oh, he brings up the Texans were reaching, blah, 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 blah. Can I ask you a question, Joe?
Sure.
Are the Texans and the Dolphins in the same position as far as their franchises are at right now? Are they in the same spot? Are they both rebuilding? Are they both contending? Or are they in two completely different positions? I'm pretty sure one of them is contending for championships and the other one is rebuilding because they have one good player, Devon Achane, on their entire roster. So I would think the Texans would be able to get away with certain things that the Dolphins would not, because the Dolphins are one of the worst franchises in the National Football League. And I don't care what stupid face over there Sammy is making about it. All right. So again, the Texans can make different decisions, fill positions of need that might necessarily be reaches because they are competing for championships. They need guards. So maybe you reach for a guard, but he fits your culture and it's exactly what you need. Again, you reach for a blocking tight end. But again, if you want to lean more into the running game, that's what you need. So you go get who you need. And then you get value with Caden McDonald in round 2. You get value with Kamari Ramsey in round 5. So it wasn't all reaches. You get players that you need to win a championship, Joe, when you're thinking about winning championships. When you need players because your organization in your roster is the worst thing that anybody's ever seen, that's when you need the value. That's when you need to get the best players on the board, which the Miami Dolphins did not do. So again, they're in two completely different positions, brother. That's why I think the Texans are hidden winners and not the Miami Dolphins. Thank you and good night.
I don't know if I deserve that stray. I deserve a lot of strays, but I don't know.
Deserve every bad thing that has ever happened to you.
What?
Jesus.
I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I went too far.
What is wrong with you, man? What is wrong with you? You know what, Matt? I hope you're balding. I hope you're balding.
I hope you're balding. I
am. It's these damn kids. I'd be screaming at these damn kids too much.
I did nothing to be involved in this. All I'm hoping is for a sliver of hope, and I got dragged into this and caught a straight. For what? For what? Just because I'm a fan of this dog water team? Leave me alone, man. I didn't do anything to deserve that. That's terrible.
I'll leave you with this, Matt, as my rebuttal. Competing for championships requires you to get past the divisional round.
Well,
ever in your franchise's history.
To my point at the very beginning, it's going to come down to CJ Stroud not screwing it up. So again, if CJ Stroud screws it up again, then hey, you're not going to get past the divisional round.
For that take, Matt, I'll tell you this right now: the Dolphins and the Texans are both in the same boat. They're looking for a franchise quarterback.
Well, they're in two different boats. The Texans win playoff games, and the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since before Sammy was born. Another shot that I do not feel bad about Sammy's way.
I don't deserve this.
This has been Between the Uprights. Football is life. The rest is just details.